Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. So now we are breaking down stanza number 5. Here we go. And still too amazed to speak, we landed. So if you remember, end of stanza 4, we see these 3 strange birds that could kind of represent the souls of the 3 people that have mysteriously stopped doing their jobs, right? Or whatever you believe. Um, they represent these people more than likely. So then we've got stanza 5. And still too amazed to speak, we landed and made fast the boat. So they anchor that boat, and climb the track in single file, each wishing he was safe afloat on any sea, however far, so be it far from Flannan Isle. So let's break that little section down real quick. Is it really safe to be on a boat versus on land? The answer is obviously no. Land is generally much more safer than being on a boat. So the fact that they don't feel safe on this island tells us they know, again, that something has happened, something is wrong. So my stanza, we've got a lot going on in stanza 5 already. So they are tying down the boat, they're climbing this track single file up to this lighthouse, and they're wishing they were anywhere else. So they haven't even made it to the lighthouse, and they're already worried and kind of scared. Here we go. Each wishing he was safe afloat on any sea, however far, so be it far from Flannan Isle. And still we seem to climb and climb, as though we'd lost all count of time, and so must climb forevermore. Yet all too soon we reach the door, the black, sun-blistered lighthouse door that gaped for us ajar. So, first of all, my stanza 5 question was, why are they focused on this climb? What is it so important? Why does it say that they seem to climb forever? And then we've got this contrasting opinion. They're climbing forever, but too soon they reach the door. So it's kind of, again, the author is creating, or that speaker is creating suspense for the reader. We can kind of feel them taking those steps, climbing on and on and on and on, and then all of a sudden they are at this door. Now, we've got a few things that kind of stick out with this description. The black, sun-blistered lighthouse door. So it's not a well-maintained door. It's not a nice door. It's not a well-taken care of door. It's sun-blistered. It's peeling. It's breaking apart. The paint's kind of chipping off. And again, if you're going back to kind of symbolism, if you've got kind of darker colors, you generally associate it with something negative. And then you've got that door. Now it's gaping ajar, so it's slightly open. Its mouth, it's like a mouth that's slightly open. It's gaping. It's ever so slightly open. Now, I don't know about most of you, but we don't leave doors slightly open. We don't leave them slightly ajar, especially if they're outside doors, because then you let all the cool air out. So that tells us again, right there, the fact that that door, the way it's described, that there's something wrong. There's something wrong right there. So then we go right into stanza 6. As on the threshold for a spell we paused, we seemed to breathe the smell of lime wash and of tar, familiar as our daily breath, as though it were some strange scent of death. And so, yet wondering, side by side, we stood still tongue-tied, and each with black foreboding eyed the door, ere we should fling it wide, to leave the sunlight for the gloom, till plucking courage up at last, hard on each other's heels we passed into the living room. So let's break down stanza 6. So on the threshold, I do want you to tell me what threshold means. So you will have to research that and insert a text box, which again, let me show you how to do that. Insert text box. So if you see, I just click the little text box button. I click there and click blah, 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 blah. So that's what I want you to do. Annotate that for me. Tell me what a threshold is. All right. Now, come on, load. Let's talk about a spell. When you're talking about a spell, they're talking about waiting for a moment, for just a brief second. That's what they're talking about when they're talking about a spell. But if you want to talk about the different meanings of words, again, we're focused on word choice with this. Spells are often done by witches, which witches have negative connotations. So again, you've got this negative connotation. They're pausing for a spell. They're smelling this air, and it smells of lime wash and of tar. So it's the same smell. It's familiar as our daily breath. So it's the smell of their ship. It's the smell of the island. It's the smell of this lighthouse. But that smell is strange, as if some scent of death. So my question for stanza 6 is, why is the familiar scent the scent of death? So why? Why is the author making that comparison? So, next part. And so, yet wondering side by side, we stood a moment still tongue-tied. So they're standing next to each other, looking at this door that's just slightly open, and they can't even say anything. And each with black foreboding eyed the door ere we should fling it wide. So, again, we're a threshold or foreboding, and it's got that line. I want you guys to insert text box, and I want you to tell me what foreboding means. So they're looking at each other, and they're terrified, and they're all too scared to fling open this door, so they're too scared to go inside and to leave the sunlight for the gloom. So again, if you want to go kind of symbolism, you've got sunlight, so brightness, white, good things, into the gloom, dark colors, normally associated with death and just kind of horrible things. So they're leaving the good to go to the bad. So, till plucking up courage at last, hard on each other's heels, we passed into the living room. So that finally, they're terrified to go inside, but finally they all rush in on each other's heels. So they're going in single file all together as fast as they can, trying to rush into this room to see what has happened to these people.